Hi, welcome to Insights into Consciousness. I'm your host tonight, Anna Olsen, here on A1R Radio. Tonight, I'm going to do a free online live reading, and in the interim, before that, I wanted to pull a card for a horoscope. So it's just going to be a random card for a random horoscope that comes up. And I have basically a horoscope. I guess you could call it a cloth with different horoscopes. And I don't look at it, I just set it out. And there's a horoscope that I can just pretty much land on. It's sort of like dropping your finger on a map. But it's more or less a solar system. And it's going to land on one sign, and I'm going to apply the card that I pulled for that sign. So I'm going to shuffle my cards, and we'll see if it's your sign tonight. I pulled the Eight of Swords, and that is a very, it has a lot of different meanings to it. So the Eight of Swords, it could mean a bunch of things. I will, first of all, let it land on a sign, which is going to be Capricorn, which is one of my most, I guess it's one of the signs that get along with Virgos the best. So that's one of my signs that I get along with best. So Capricorns. All the Capricorns watching tonight, I have an Eight of Swords. I'm feeling like this is meaning that your power and your personal power and the things that you're choosing and either choosing to do or what direction you want to go in, I feel like you have a lot of options and it's hard to choose which one. Now, this is very common during readings, and that's usually why people come to a reader, is they may have a bunch of different ways that they can go or a bunch of different decisions that they can make with all these different options. And I'm seeing all these eight swords representing a different option to continue your, where you want to put your energy, where your energy is going to flow, where you're going to focus in your life. And when we feel kind of pinned against the wall or painted into a corner and there's only a few different ways to get out of this, it can feel a little bit tricky. But this is the universal message that I want to send with this card, that Spirit always has what's best for you in store, and you will always go there. You'll be led to that as long as you're really in tune, you're connecting to higher power, you're really meditating, you're really listening to yourself. Really, it's about finding your own compass and your own intuition about things. And what I like to do as a reader is to confirm that that was the correct choice. Now, sometimes we will have a back and forth where I pick up on all these different options for somebody, and I'll get this energetic and, feeling about it, and we kind of go into all these different options. And basically what we come to is that person making a decision on what they feel is best. And I can tell them, okay, well, if you pick this choice, then down the road, this is how it's going to look. If you pick this choice down the road, this is how it's going to look. So what we do during a reading is we pick all these different options, and I just guide the person into seeing what will happen with each option. Now, this isn't what happens with every single reading, but this is a very common practice, which is also where I incorporate a lot of my life coach training skills in psychology, where we really look at things in a very neutral way, and we say, okay, if you do this, this is what could happen. If you do this, these are the options. This is how it could end up. And is this really what you want for your life? So it's about helping the person pick what they want, not insisting what I think as much, maybe giving my 2 cents, but and my experience, but basically letting them come to a decision and their own decision as to what they want for their life and what they're hoping for the outcome that they desire. So I'd like to do an on-air live reading right now for Angela in Ontario. Angela, are you there?
I am, yes.
Hi, how are you tonight?
Hello? I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, I'm great. It's fun to do my show. I had a surgery and I'm like recovering, and I'm just so excited. You're my first reading after my recovery. And so I'm really excited to do your reading tonight.
Nice, excellent. Me too. I'm excited to hear.
Good, yeah. So how can I guide you tonight? What would you like to focus on?
My new relationship.
Okay. your new relationship, and are you wanting to see if you can like how this is going to go, or if your instinct is right
Yes.
about this guy?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really feeling like he is. Now you give me feedback when I start telling you what I see, because I'm seeing that he is a kind person and he's very well natured.
Yes.
I would even say he's, what's the word? I don't want to say like jolly. I'm trying to find the word. It's like
Yes.
he's bubbly.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm
Absolutely.
seeing
Yep.
him. Yeah. And for some reason, I'm getting a cherub, almost like he's like a cherub, or this is like a cherub shot an arrow and caught you guys. Or does that ring a bell for you? The cherub and the curly hair,
Cherub.
curly
Yeah.
white
Like,
hair.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what does he look like? Does he have the curly hair, or am I getting it for something else?
No, he has curly white hair. Yep.
Okay, okay. So I'm seeing him, and oh, it's curly white hair. That's so neat. I'm getting that he is very, very charming, and he's supposed to really spread this charming nature. And he's part of I want to say it's almost like he's a tribe of a type of person, a type of human, and they have these great spirits about them, and they're supposed to just kind of spread this positivity that they have inherently.
Right.
Now, that's what I mean, I really love that, by the way, because I know a few people who are like that, and they're really fun to be around. Now, the only thing that, I would say, you said that you really want to get some guidance and some insight into him. This is the thing with
Yes.
these types, is that yes, they're wonderful. They have this great personage about them. They're very positive people, and they really, do spread that loving heart that they have. But everybody has their difficulties and everybody has their downside. And the only thing that may kind of be, come into play later on, is at first, when you're in the beginning part of a relationship, things are exciting and fun, and you're in love,
Right.
and you're really motivated, and it's so, fun and great. And then what can happen is, after a little while, you'll kind of relax, you'll kind of see each other's issues, or your different
Right.
things about your personality. And so I'm getting, would be basically that he may get a little bit lax. His personality is very relaxed. And
Okay.
that I'm getting, for you, you're a go-getter. You're like, go, 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 do, do, do. And
Yes.
that's wonderful. That's very compatible, first of all, because where you're very maybe high energy, he will kind of bring you down to a more mellow level when you need to come home and just relax.
Right.
And then
Okay.
you will motivate. Yeah, you'll be able to motivate him, where he's a little more relaxed and not so pushed to get it done. And he's motivated, but it's just in a different way. He kind of gets it done in
Right.
his time,
Yeah.
on his
That's right.
say. Yeah. So he's going to be able to really kind of bring you down to a more mellow level, and you're going to really be able to motivate him and bring him up to more of a motivated level. Now, the thing is, though, the downside to that is he may kind of feel like, oh, she's so pushy, or she's, after a while, and then he may kind of
Right.
like, look, that'll be his point of view. Then when you look at him, you kind of be like, gosh, I really wish he was more motivated, and that he had more of a he felt more rushed to get this done type feeling, is what I'm getting.
Okay. Okay.
And so, but neither is right or wrong. It's just your personalities, and they are compatible.
Okay.
So that's it in a nutshell. Is there any other question you have, or is there anything else you'd like to ask about?
My career.
Okay. Now, your career, is there a question of relocating for you?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm kind of getting that you do something where you have clients and you need to have a clientele. Is that correct?
What? Sorry?
Clientele, like you need to have people that you kind of build. You kind of
Yes.
build your
Yes.
clientele.
Clientele. Yes.
Okay. So did you do hair or something like that?
No, I do energy healing.
Energy healing. Okay. Okay. Because I also feel like you do really well doing hair and makeup and stuff like that. But
Yes, I do. I do.
You do. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. You're great at it. But, I think that the basic thing about relocating is to be aware that when you do relocate, you're going to have a new clientele. And I know, it depends on how far away you move, of course, but just to be aware
Right.
of how long it takes to build that clientele. Take that
Yes.
into account. Think about how much you'd have to save and maybe have a backup plan in the interim to have a good savings, and I feel like you're such a planner that you probably have thought of all of this, but that I'm just confirming that yes, this is really
Sure.
what you need to
Yep.
focus on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes sense.
And gee, I really feel like you would just do really well in something that where you do makeup or hair. Like you could also do that as a supplement job. Like people would love you. You're really fun to be around, and it would just be really fun for you and the clients. You do a great job.
Right now, I'm doing house cleaning on the side because
Okay.
I don't have the clientele for my intuitive energy healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing is about the energy healing thing. It's really word of mouth, and you have
Yes.
to get to those people and those pockets of people who are open to it and who understand that.
Yes.
And I really feel like one of the ways that you could get more clientele doing this energy healing is to go to places where people are being treated for cancer.
Okay.
And that they would be very open to you doing energy healing and maybe even just coming in and doing a little bit of like a volunteer work where you go in and you say, look, I do this energy healing, that they'd be open to it. You just say, look, if you could just let your patients know that I do that to help them through this process. And then you just give out your cards to every single person and you say, let me know if you need me. And, it's basically about them also spreading the word and their families, it's just word of mouth. And they'll feel that you can heal them. And you'd be surprised at how quickly this spreads when people know what you do is real and that what you do helps and heals.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's the most lucrative part of the health industry for energy healing is through the cancer centers right now, even like at a university or a hospital.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, that sounds excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Is there anything else that I can help you with tonight? Or do you have any other questions about either topic or?
The only thing I was thinking is with this fellow, how is he going to mingle within my family, like with my children?
Yes. I think it'll go really well. It's going to be, of course, it's going to take some time. Just, I would say be very, very slow to introducing him and just make sure that he's kind of tapered in that dynamic. I think at first I think he's a little different than the guy that you're used to bringing into your space. Is that correct?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's complete opposite. Yep.
Yeah. So it'll be a little bit of a surprise at first for everybody.
Okay. All right.
And it's going to be new, but this is the thing. You're now attracting healthier men.
Right.
So even it doesn't matter really what our family says to us about the person we're with. It's like if it works for you, if he works for you and you guys are happy together, that's all that really matters.
That's right.
And this guy will be slow too. He's just slow to warm up to people, and that's just part of his personality. And don't worry, he's not, if he kind of drops off the face of the earth a little bit here and there, don't worry. He needs his space to kind of regroup and feel like he's in control of his life, I guess you could say, because you've swept him off his feet a little bit.
Right.
And, basically you've really made him feel needed because he's had an issue with feeling needed and appreciated in the past. Okay. So the good news is that you do that for him. And just remember that when men are feeling a little overwhelmed with emotions, sometimes they need some time to step back and regroup.
Right. Yes.
So that's what he's going to need. He's very masculine, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. And he wants to make sure.
Soft, gentle.
Yeah, like teddy bear,
Story.
big teddy bear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
seems really sweet. And I just feel like the more that you are just allow him to have a space and then wait for him to come back. It's important, and not
Right.
for you not to get anxiety if that happens, because I feel like you've
Okay.
had some abandonment with men in the past, or some trust
Yes.
issues. And
Yes.
so don't worry that that's not him. Okay. He
Right.
he is a guy, he's red-blooded male. He just he just kind of needs to have that masculine feeling of being on his own, in control of his life for a little bit, and then he'll come back. You just have to kind of wait for him to come back on his own time and his own way. And he'll be fine. You guys will be fine. I see that you guys will be very close for a very long time. And I feel like it's a lifelong partnership, meaning you guys are going to be close for a very long time. And of course, anything that you decide is what happens. I always tell the person, like, okay, that's what I see as a possibility. But of course, whatever you say goes in your life, right? You don't have to, like, just because I say, oh, he's there for a long time now, you're stuck with this guy. No.
Sure. Right.
Like, if you feel like you want to change this or whatever around, that you can do that, of course, that's your choice. But I do see a very clear possibility of a very long-term relationship with him. And I think you'd be very happy with him. And I think that, again, you have to know going into this, he is going to do things on his own time. He won't be told what to do.
Right.
He's going to do it in his own time, in his own way. And we as women, sometimes we're like, we like all the details and we just want to get things done. And, I know you're a patient person too, but I'm just saying, like, I just feel like he's going to really need that time just to, like, do it in his own way, in his own time. And that's okay. You'll be fine. It'll teach you a lot of patience too with him.
I bet. Yeah.
So it's good.
That is something. That is a good thing. Yes. Well, thank you so much. That, like,
You're
clarifies so much for me. Oh my goodness.
Good.
That was amazing. Yes.
Good.
It just, like, settled my heart. Because I'm like, really? Like, this is like the first guy I've dated in like a whole year. And it's like, boom, as soon as I met him, it was like, oh my God, like, what the heck? Yeah.
See, I feel like you were doing
like instant connection to this guy.
Yeah, and I feel like you were doing a lot of your internal work during that year where you were wanting to really attract the right guy, because you just had these guys where you're like, whoa, what's going on?
Right. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's great. Yeah. Good work. You did wonderfully.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling in. Bye. So just to kind of reiterate what happened in the reading, we had Angela call in, and she was wondering about this guy. And see, this is the thing about, I saw him as a Cupid, and really sweet guy, and really loving, and he's very easygoing. He's the type of guy that has a little bit of a temper when he's really pushed, but he's mostly really easygoing, and that's going to be very compatible for her. But what I like to, like, really, really tell people when we're doing a reading on their significant other or their partner, whoever's in their life, there's always going to be the challenges that come with the good things. And we have to weigh out what we're going to be patient enough with and what we can deal with in a relationship. And every single human has their flaws. And we just have to figure out what we're going to be able to live with and deal with. And that's just how it is, And we have to also decide if they're going to be okay with ours, and to admit that we have our own faults. We sometimes do stupid things or say stupid things, or we, have our personalities that are also unique. And really, it's a dance of trying to be comfortable and accepting, and learn the lessons that we need to learn from that person, because every person that crosses our paths are karmically going to teach us exactly what we need to know at that point, and to draw to our attention the things that we need to work on spiritually as a person. And really, it's a spiritual journey when we're with someone, when we're with a partner. And it's about learning what we can spiritually. It's less about just always trying to see if, or do they like, all the shallow things, like what kind of movies they like, or what kind of music. Okay, well, yeah, that's important. But really, what are your personalities like? What is it that draws you two together, because usually what draws two people together is also going to be their biggest issue, or could be their biggest issue, because in the long run, these things kind of get messy. And so what I discussed with Angela is that, yes, this guy's easygoing. He's different than anybody else. And this is wonderful. She got through this sort of a sludgy time of like dense energy time in her life with relationships. She kind of got rid of these other guys that were not trustworthy, not very kind. And now she's drawn to her. She's healed all that. And she's drawn to her because that's healed. She's drawn to her this guy who's much more compatible with her and who's going to be more kind and patient and loving and giving. And now she's going to have a new set of challenges with this person to work through. And it's not anything that's, just, completely horrible, but she will have to work on patience with letting somebody do things their own way and in their own due time. She's going to have to deal with a lot of masculinity, which is also going to kind of help her to develop her femininity, which is a really great thing for men and women, or whoever is predominantly masculine and feminine in the relationship. And it's going to be a very wonderful time for her to not just learn new lessons and grow spiritually, but it's also going to be a maturing time. It's a maturation time of dealing with feelings of insecurity or uncertainty, and trying to figure out if can I trust this person. Now I have my kids involved, and it makes it so much more complex when there are children involved and parenting, and sometimes that person will have kids when you're at that stage in your life. And so it's really important to just really look at this as our learning experience and just see, what is it that we need to learn from this person? What is it that we're maturing in our spirits? What is it that we're maturing in our hearts? How is this opening our heart? How is it really helping us to trust our own intuition and exactly what we feel we need at the time and what we can offer the other person? Because when we have these relationships, when we come together with another person, what we're doing is we're looking into a mirror. And it may sound tricky, but it's very simple. We look at that person, and they're either going to reflect our insecurities or the things that we need to work on. And, their reactions to our faults is also a mirror. So really, when we have these relationships, not just with friends and family and kids and our significant other, but it's also important to remember that spiritually, however you look at it, the universe, God, the angels, they will also mirror back to us exactly what we need at that time, because we are made in their image. We are in the same image. And it's important to remember that when we pray, we meditate, we look in that mirror, we're going to have things reflected, usually when we're in our darkest hour and praying to, God, or universe, however people view that. When we're praying, it's basically a mirror off of God. We're bouncing off of God, what our needs are at the time and how that's reflecting in our life. So it's very, very important to pay attention to what you're praying about and journal it, because in that darkest hour, there are things that come up while we're praying that will reflect in our relationship during the day when our conscious mind is more or less taking over. So when we're in our kind of like really needy time and we're being beggars and we're asking and we're praying and we're really, really, focusing on these things that we really need, that's the time to write down what you prayed about, because later on you'll kind of remember, oh yeah, when I was, in that mind frame, and you're more of your subconscious, your inner child, subconscious mind, that's when we're really digging deep and getting all that dirty stuff out of there that we really need to fix and we really need some help with, and we just don't know what to do with it. And during the day, if we can focus on that and see what's happening with our significant other, or even the relationships at work or friends or our kids, see how that's showing up in those relationships. And sometimes the people around us, like our significant other, our kids, and all those relationships we have, sometimes that's just the best reflection of the answer to our prayers, is just, oh, you know what? I need to work on this. And maybe if I change my behavior, when I look in that person and I'm basically looking in a mirror, it's reflecting my own self. I'll be able to improve myself and to help be more helpful to that person and draw closer to that person. And the more close our heart chakra, our spirits, our love grows closer to the person or the people that we love, then we are becoming more one. And that means that we are growing exponentially spiritually, and we are retracting from the temptation to be attached to things we can't control, which is going backwards in the spiritual realm. So the goal is to really figure out what it is that we can and can't control, and to act accordingly, and to only really act on what we can control and to focus on that. So my time is up tonight. I had a really good time tonight. Thank you so much to Angela in Ontario, Canada, for calling in tonight. I had fun. And I will see you next week. I'm here every Thursday, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, and that's 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And you can always reach me at AnnaOlsenIntuitive.com. It's at the bottom of the screen, or you can search for my show, Insights into Consciousness with Anna Olsen, on YouTube. You can also look at the podcast for Apple, for iTunes, Google Play. It's kind of all over the place. So just search for Insights into Consciousness, A1R, Anna Olsen, and you'll be able to find me there. So I'm also on Facebook, A1R Radio, or Anna Olsen Intuitive. So give me a call if you need a reading. I can help you just guide you through all those different things, relationships, job, career. And tonight was a pure example of how I can see all of those things and guide you through it. And I love to do it. And I'm here for you. So again, my name's Anna Olsen, and I will see you next week on Thursday. Have a wonderful week.